What constitutes the feminine role in the arts? To what extent is the role of an artist charged with purging or correcting random fantasy? Today we talk about managing dominant stereotypes, notions of sexism, objectification, and instances where guilt is inflicted as a weapon. We discuss the importance of safe spaces, hiding places, empathy for and solidarity with friends, work colleagues, and co-creators. Our guest for today's episode 4 is Laura D., seasoned singer, songwriter, and educator. And the aim of today's episode is not just to talk about these things, but to tacitly offer meaningful, true-to-life strategies that have been shown to work for others and might be useful for anyone struggling with these things on the stage of life. Life is Feeling today, in a non-moralizing way, offers what could be considered advice for any aspiring female performing artist, or any other performing artist for that matter, who would have it. Not from me naturally, but from someone who feels it and someone who knows it. For anyone who runs the risk of being, whether by accident or by design, profiled, misrepresented, appropriated, or relegated. And anyone who thinks that within this context, they simply don't have a choice. Okay, Laura, finally, you are here in studio again. I have been looking so much forward to this little podcast conversation with you. I've been looking forward to this since the first time we met, when I had the privilege of meeting you on my birthday. Did you know it was my birthday?
No.
When I met you in Shine Bar Varité. It was my birthday, and I've been looking forward to this ever since. How do you feel today?
First of all, thanks for the invitation. I was looking forward too. I feel good because I have time now, because it's my first day of holiday.
Fantastic.
They started today on the 6th of July. So, you could have told me it was your birthday.
I could have, but I don't really do birthdays, to be honest. I stopped at, I think it was 32. No, that's not the reason. But part of my family in Jamaica didn't really celebrate birthdays. And, ever since then, it hasn't really been a big thing. It hasn't really featured prominently in my life. I mean, I do celebrate a little bit, but I don't make a big thing of it,
I'm totally different. And I was always forced by my mother. And now I know so many people that I cannot I still ask people very quickly, when is your birthday? And I try to remember. Mm-hmm. But I think since 2 or 3 years, I lost this, oh no, I forgot his birthday, her birthday. I did not call or anything. I lost that a little. And that feels much better, because it was a real birthday terror. So maybe your way of not celebrating too much is maybe healthier.
It is. Well, I can tell you that I'm feeling very relaxed today. And for those of us, or let's say our listeners, who are just tuning in, I'm going to try to get straight to the point of our little conversation today. We are going to be talking about the feminine role in arts. Whatever that means to all of you might be something a little bit different. And the simple question that I'm going to be putting to Laura today, for many reasons, is what does it mean to you, Laura? The feminine role in art, on the stage, in the arts, what have you?
Well, there are many aspects to this. First of all, I noticed that now, slowly, I start working more and more with women. And I feel that women must more support each other doing arts. So I have a duo with a violoncello player. She is a woman. I had other cellists who are men. And in the beginning, it didn't make a big difference for me. But when people come watching and seeing us, I think for a lot of them, it has a feminist aspect that I didn't see in this. So it looks like, okay, look, there are 2 women who work together, who collaborate without men. They don't need men, so they do the project together. And I started working together with Hannah Plass, a wonderful actress and a singer and piano player, doing a piano bar named Sing Sissy Sing. And she took me into that boat. We also have 2 men there who barely ever have time. So it seems more like a women's project. And we see that we attract a lot of women doing this. And before, I had the feeling that all I was doing was, was more presenting me, myself, as a songwriter, as someone with creative ideas, and maybe also to get this attention mostly by men, because an attractive woman on stage attracts always men. That's maybe because why I'm sitting here also. Yeah. Okay. You had the idea of bringing me here. Not only, well, okay, we can cut it out, whatever. But
it's okay. Just say it. Yeah. Because it's probably true.
It's probably true. But the interesting thing is to notice that it's like that and to see if you are in general an attractive person doing something on stage, then you get more attention. So and I wanted to point out, I read an interesting book by Caroline Kebekus. Do you know her?
The name does ring a bell, but no, I won't pretend that I do. No.
She is the most successful German comedian. So, and she's doing a lot of stand-up comedy. She shows up in politic satire shows. And in the beginning, she was joking a lot around, also did jokes about other women who didn't look good sometimes. And she changed completely. She's getting more and more feminist. And in her book, she points out that women don't grow up supporting each other because they learn there's only one. If you look at the TV, if you see film, if you watch films, or even if you go to Comic-Verfilmungen, there's always a variety of men, of boys, of different types. The intelligent one, the fat one, the joker, the one who always finds a solution, the strong one, and there's only one woman. When you look at Die Schlümpfe, for example, you know Die Schlümpfe?
Oh, yes, yeah. With the Smurfs in English, yes.
Yeah. How is it in English?
Smurfs.
Smurfs.
Yes.
Smurfs.
Yes.
Did you know they come from Belgium, and in Belgium they're called Strumpf. So really? like the German...
wie Strumpfhose?
Ja, wie Strumpf.
Oh my God.
Wie der Strumpf.
Woher kommt das
Die Strumpf.
Das ist doch voll krass.
I think it's a fun word. I don't know. But you have this one blonde girl, and her role is to be a woman and nothing specific.
Yeah.
Maybe to call for help, and then they can save her or something. In other comics, it's the princess who has to be saved. And yeah, and she says when you start your business, you see women more as a competition than men, because you want to please men. Men help you going on with your career, and women are in the way because there can only be one. So if there are more women, if she shows up at a stand-up and there are more women, she was like, oh no, I have to be the best. I have to be the one on stage. And reading this, I realized, oh my God, I'm a bit like that too.
Oh dear. Well, you know what? I sympathize with you for many reasons, much larger than this episode, because I do find myself having to figure out what role I have to play at a particular time, for whom, and so on and so forth. However, the topic that our discussion tries to, let's say, speak to today, the feminine role, it echoes of so many things, because just from your introduction there, I sense that you have lots of ideas. You're approaching this from many angles. Of course, you're speaking from the wisdom of your own experience. And of course, I always say you have the right to change your mind. It's a conversation. It is not a scientific discussion for those of you out there who want to, whatever, take it apart. It's just a conversation, and we're not taking sides or trying to polarize or anything. We're conversing with the ideas. But what I wanted to say was that just from your introduction, I heard echoes of sexism, feminist, let's say, roles or feminist positions. I heard echoes of what I would like to call perception of erotic capital. Yes, the value of being sexually attractive on a stage. Some people might call objectification in some cases. In some other cases, people might just call it putting on a show. Echoes of the expectation of being a kind of damsel in distress, which is someone needing to be saved by a man. I heard so many things, and now that I sense the full richness of all of this, it feels almost unfair to put you on the spot like this. And that is why, I'm just going to invite you to just speak from your own experience, right? From any of these scenes that you mentioned, and tell me about what it is that you experience as an artist on the stage. What do you experience? What's it like for you?
Well, first of all, I'm doing music now for so long, and I must say I started showing up as a pianist or piano player, already as a child, and then I was studying music at Freiburg Musikhochschule, and we had lots of, we called it Vortragsabende. So we did opera singing, or we did piano, or any instrument you did. And at that time, I did really not realize anything about those attraction or this erotism potential. Nothing at all, because we're so much focused on the right notes, and everything you could do wrong, actually. This fear, how does my teacher find it? Wird sie mich zur Seite nehmen danach und sagen, oh, da hast du auch schon wieder falsch gespielt und guck mal hier Takt 47 and so on. And I think doing, pop music or doing music in a pop music context, there you start more being sexualized than in the, klassische Musik, Zirkus, something like that. And that's maybe a reason why it took me so long to realize those things. So it doesn't mean that didn't exist at the Musikhochschule. And of course, we like to see certain singers more often because they had this glamour, maybe they had this erotism, of course, but that was not conscious at all. It was all about, wow, her voice is so big, and how she hit the high note, and she, she already sings in this opera choir at Freiburger Oper, etc. And and then coming on stage with my first singer-songwriter project, like in 2010. I realized that something changed, that people were not so much talking about my music and my errors and die Songauswahl, die ich getroffen hatte.
Yeah, the choice of songs, for example, or the content of the lyrics.
Yeah, content of the lyrics. So, but all in all, großartige show, maybe nice dress. We were just talking a lot about this nice dress thing. Yeah. Is it possible to say that? In which context is it possible? So, and I don't know. And then you're invited a lot, and that feels strange. And I think it's really, it is important to learn how to react in those moments. And I also see that, I don't say it's only for women like that. I guess attractive men on stage also have to deal with this and to be prepared how to react when they really feel, I don't know, in die Ecke gedrängt or
pushed into a corner or categorized into a certain category box.
Yeah.
I want to know how it feels for you. I really can identify with a lot of the things you feel, not because I try to be, also wie sagt man es in Deutsch, sagt man so Frauenversteher, ja? Das ist ja schon wieder falsch eigentlich, ne? But
ist auch schon wieder eine Kategorie, die du aufmachst, ne?
I know. I can do that, yes. I mean, that's not what I'm doing today. I also don't call myself feminist anymore, but
that's also an interesting topic.
I don't call myself feminist. I'm a man, but still I do sympathize with the idea of being pushed into a corner. You spoke about so many things. For example, here you talked about, or how I understood it, being recognized for the value that you bring to the stage, which is other than your artistic value, the quality of the music, the quality of the voice, the content of the song, the lyrics, and so on, but for maybe your appearance. And I want to know how do you manage that? How do you integrate that? Because, I mean, there's an aspect of this whole performance experience where you can allow that to be a part of what you offer, this experience that you offer as a woman on the stage. How do you negotiate? How do you navigate that and manage it such that it doesn't go too much in one direction or, stuff like that? How do you manage it?
You mean, to understand your question, you mean how do I manage showing parts of myself, showing, I don't know, attractivity, but not doing too much? Or I think
laying too much value just on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have, it could very well happen that you have a guest, or let's say a member of your audience, who appreciates a fullness of your performance that is purely based on your appearance. It can happen. Do you correct them? Do you take their fantasies away? Or do you continue to let them see you as the beautiful flower on stage, or just as a voice, or just as the pianist? Is it your job to correct them? Life is Feeling is a self-sponsored independent podcast brought to you in association with iAntonio.media and its somewhat more conservative sister show, English Coach Podcast, Living the Language. Feel free to head on over to the official show page at www.lifeisfeeling.com or follow the link in the description box of your preferred podcast player to watch a small collection of exclusive videos featuring Laura D in performance recorded in studio and just for these podcasts. For upcoming events and impressions of other magical moments, do also feel free to visit Laura's website at www.laurad.de. That's LAURADEE.de. Links to Laura's Instagram and her Facebook accounts will also be available in the show notes. So then, without further ado, on with the show.
No, I don't think my job is to correct them, but my job is to think about my appearance and to think about what I offer. And this has so many aspects. So if we start with the visual, what experience I had a few weeks ago, you were taking photos there. And I don't know if you realized that there was a man who was whistling a lot and always said, "Hey!"
Yes,
yeah,
I do remember.
So Bierzeltstimmung mäßig. And then in addition with that, he came very close to me in this break and started talking, du musst unbedingt in einem Remake von Odyssee 2001 mitspielen, weil du erinnerst mich so an, keine Ahnung, und dann, ich weiß gar nicht mehr, welchen Charakter er aus dem
Was he
Film
mansplaining
hatte.
or what? Was that mansplaining?
Yeah, it was mansplaining with the mixture of sexism, being so close, and then always saying, ich wollte sie ja nicht lästig, ich wollte sie nicht stören, without going back. So I stepped back, and this is this strange moment when you start getting more air between the both, and this is not respected. So also maybe he was already drunk. There were some people of the crew of the theater who were, I don't know, who have always free entry, who have free drinks maybe. And at that moment I was thinking, why did I put on this dress? Should I have worn another dress? Should I have, I don't know.
That was a fantastic dress, by the way, if I might say so myself.
Thank you. And I love this dress.
Beautiful.
Maybe we explain, it's a very short black and red dress of, how do you say, pailletten?
Pailletten are sequins. Are you sure it wasn't, are you sure it was the silver and black striped one? I'm almost sure.
The first half, I had this one. You're sure. You're right.
Yes.
When he talked to me, it was this dress.
Yes.
And then I realized it was really warm in there. And this one had long sleeves. And then I switched and I had the one with Spaghetti-Träger. And so when I came on stage, he was even whistling more, him or maybe someone else. And I thought, this is interesting. I didn't realize that for a long time. And then I realized, because we are in Berlin, we have, I don't know, this growing theme of feminism. We had Me Too, a lot of scandals, people talking a lot about of those things. And when I just played on a party at Chaos, they did a big party, and I did not really have such reactions among the younger people.
So it is a generational thing.
Maybe
I'm sensing.
and I was thinking that, and when I thought that, I was saying, okay, maybe I have to accept this right now. He is like that. He's not a criminal. He's not a bad man. He didn't want to offend me.
He's not a stalker, hopefully.
Hopefully. Not like you.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm joking.
Yes, I only stalk with a
to explain,
purpose, and I give due warning.
Ian is setting up a website for me, so he definitely has to stalk to know what is important to put on this page. Yes. But if I would have worn another dress that day, would you put up a website? Anyway, okay. But I also felt pity then for this man. I thought, okay, this generation has no chance anymore to catch up. And it's not me, the one who's doing women's planning, maybe now to him, if this word exists. I don't know.
It does exist.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, of course it does.
And this, and also this dress was a present by a man who did music videos for me 12 years ago. I still wear it because it was a great idea. And he broke up working with me when he realized I got a new boyfriend. He was totally, okay, forget it. So in this moment, he showed really that he was doing all this for me and the music video and, I don't know, all the talking, photos coming to concerts, because he thought that would be a romantic relationship. And I didn't realize that at all at that time.
That is a topic in itself, because I mean this perception of you as a performance and the appreciation of your art, the art that flows from you.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, now I was just talking about dresses all the time. Yeah.
Yes, of course, but it's fine. It's fine. I mean, the question was how you manage it. What I got from that is sometimes you just have to accept the outlook of certain people. You know, different generations will perceive you differently on the stage, and as long as you have your personal space and space enough to back away from it, then it's okay. I mean, I don't think this guy was insulting to you, was he?
No. He was not offending at all. I don't know how to put this. It was too much. It was too close. And I felt a bit ashamed. And I felt like, okay, I should leave this now. But when I leave, it would be, hey, sprich doch mit mir. So, and this
You did that really well, by the way.
Thank you. And this is the situation Caroline Kebekus, the comedian and writer, said that this happened so many times, men that felt offended because she said, okay, stop now, I don't want to talk to you or anything. So this moment of giving us a bad conscience because of not wanting to continue in that style. And this is a weapon. This is a weapon that we, soll ich das mal auf Deutsch erklären?
Who's wielding that? Well, yes, of course. It's getting interesting. Yes, indeed.
Also sie beschreibt eine Szene, das ist ja auch ein deutsches Buch, ne? Eine deutsche Autorin. Sie beschreibt eine Szene, wo sie von einer Fernsehstudioaufnahme kommt, noch mit dem kompletten Make-up und zum Hotel geht, in den Fahrstuhl steigt und dann steigt ein Mann aus der Hotelbar dazu und fährt mit ihr hoch und sagt gleich, na Puppe, oder sowas in der Art. Und sie guckt ein bisschen angewidert und dann sagt er gleich, ja was? Ja? Oder, oh, du hast aber schlechte Laune heute. Ja? Und sie meint, dass dieser Moment, wo sie denkt, nee, Moment mal, du bist unverschämt, nicht ich. Ne, wir kennen uns nicht, du bist angetrunken, du stolperst hier in meinen Aufzug rein, ja, oder in unseren Aufzug, aber du fängst einfach ein Gespräch an, ich habe dich darum nicht gebeten, aber du machst mir jetzt ein schlechtes Gefühl dafür, dass es dieses Gespräch jetzt gar nicht geben sollte, so, ne? Und das ist ja noch nicht mal, dass er sie auf der Bühne gesehen hat und jetzt irgendwie sagt so, hey, deine Performance war cool und schönes Outfit, was weiß ich, ja, sondern einfach nur so dieses, Puppe, na, und dann vielleicht irgendwas Despektierliches sagen und so. Also das ist so der Moment, wo ich denke, ja, da sind wir Frauen manchmal so ein bisschen in der Falle. Also natürlich bist du in einem Aufzug total in der Falle. Ja?
Okay, also wer ist in der Falle jetzt? Der Mann oder die Frau?
Nee, die Frau.
Die Frau so ein bisschen, ja.
The woman is caught in a trap, but it's not about the elevator because I'm saying this. It's about the situation when you all of a sudden have to defend yourself without wanting this situation to defend. So
yes, I understand.
I think it's always possible to defend yourself and not to feel too bad, but you have to realize that those situations are happening. And for me, I think I also have to fight this feeling of feeling bad because the man wants me to feel bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I avoid the conversation. He says like, "Oh, sorry, aber."
I come from a different world, to be honest. That's where, you know, we don't see things as literal. I mean, there are different cultures. There are cultures that see, for example, time as a linear concept, and cultures that see time as a circular concept, and you know, this with the linear kind of thinking, you tend to be a little more literal and a little more sachlich, factual in certain things. I mean, things can be two things at the same time. For example, I'm not the type of person to say das bin ich und das bin ich nicht. Sometimes I'm different things. I wear different hats on different days because, you know, depending on situation, I change. You know, there's a different action logic that informs my action. So I can perceive, for example, let's say a woman on stage as being a temptress, a seductress, and at the same time a very talented artist in her own right, or even qualified in many different faculties. So, you know, it is unfortunate when you meet a man or a person, it could also be another woman, who cannot see you in another way because they are very linear in their way of looking, at the world. If I understand you correctly, this is a very rich topic, right? And it's kind of it's not unfair, you know. I think you can handle it, but the things that come up, I mean, I think of me as a photographer. I work mostly with female artists. And if I were to be totally honest with myself, I ask myself about isms all the time. And I ask myself, where do they begin? And I suspect that they begin with the smallest perception of difference. And I think there is a difference between the male role and the female role. And people move between these. I don't think it's my role to try to tell anyone that this is what you are and this is the only thing you are, but I try to accept them in the fullness, and I tell them that, you know, you can also wear many hats the same way I do. It's just that, you know, I mean, you might be confronted with someone who, let's say this is an older person, who is used to experiencing a certain role, a certain performance on stage from an older era where the roles were different, and because of the signaling that he or she recognizes, they assume that this is what you are. And this is the only thing you are. So they make assumptions and like this woman in the elevator, she probably looks like someone who might be open to a certain conversation in a certain way, but not necessarily. And then she's accused of giving the wrong impression, if I understand you correctly.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's pretty much that. Yeah.
How the hell do you manage that? I mean, I'm also forced into roles. Yes, for example, I'm Jamaican, so people tend to push me into a corner, which is usually positive. It's sunshine and happiness and life on the beach, drinking rum and smoking weed, right? That works because it's generally positive. But if I want to be taken seriously for, a serious job, maybe at Deutsche Post, then that doesn't necessarily work for me. Yeah, and
No
I have
one
to
wants
dance
to
with
work
that.
at Deutsche Post anymore.
Well, I don't know. It could be Deutsche Bank as well. Oh, Deutsche Bank is also a little bit tricky, no?
Deutsche Bahn. No,
Deutsche
forget it.
Bank, Deutsche Bank. Okay, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Something very conservative. That doesn't really work for me all the time. But how do you manage it? Because, I mean, you seem to manage it quite elegantly. I didn't notice that you had any difficult times.
I just tell this story because it's part of the topic, and that's an interesting moment. And it's only a slight feeling of unease, but that doesn't kill the evening. That doesn't kill the show. That doesn't mean anything, so that I break up the show now and I take my piano and go home. No, it's just something that that's why we came to the topic of this, because of this slight moment, not of the moment of Caroline Kebekus. That's only the one she described that's even harder, that reminded me of, but I was reminded of by this situation. But I thought, okay, ich habe irgendwie gemerkt, ich muss da doch auch anders mit umgehen. Ich muss vielleicht was sagen. Ne? Ich muss vielleicht nicht nur einen Schritt zurückgehen und dann irgendwie ganz weggehen. Und das mache ich oft. Ich ziehe mich aus der Situation raus, wenn sowas ist. Ich verabschiede mich. Ich ziehe den Rock etwas runter.
Wirklich, ja?
Ja.
Okay.
Ich gehe, ich gucke und dann denke ich.
Hier oben so.
Ja. Ja, das ist nicht so. Das ist bei mir nicht so oft. Bei mir sind auch eher auffällig die langen Beine, glaube ich, auch so. Ne? Und dass ich irgendwie dann denke, ich muss auch daran arbeiten, dass ich, also wie verhalte ich mich? Und dass ich dann da stolz aber stehen bleibe und sage, das bin ich jetzt aber, das ist jetzt mein Bühnen-Ich, aber verwechsle mein Bühnen-Ich jetzt nicht mit meinem privaten Ich, weil ich kenne dich nicht. Was willst du jetzt von mir? Ja? Du willst jetzt gerade gar nicht mit mir wirklich über was reden. Du willst jetzt irgendwie anzügliche Bemerkungen machen und ich fange an, mich unwohl zu fühlen. Das brauche ich jetzt nicht. Ja, so. Und das kann ich jetzt hier sagen und das ist, glaube ich, auch das, was ich dabei denke. Aber wenn die Situation auftritt, dann bin ich wieder das kleine Mädchen und verfalle in so eine, ich gehe da mal auf Toilette, tschüss, ja, weißt du?
So. Ne? Ja.
Und dann, und das ist, glaube ich, so das Kernproblem von der Frau, sagen wir einfach von der Person, das kann ja jedes Geschlecht sein, das kann ja auch trans, divers oder sonst was sein,
natürlich.
Die eben die sich sexualisiert fühlt. So, ich glaube, wir müssen mehr lernen, wir müssen damit rechnen, okay, es gibt Sexualisierung, die findet die ganze Zeit statt, aber es hilft jetzt nicht zu schreien, so, die bösen Männer, Frauen, keine Ahnung, Menschen, die da jetzt irgendwie sexualisieren, sondern man muss irgendwie wissen, wie man damit umgeht.
Ja.
Und ich merke halt, wow, das hat bei mir so lange gedauert, um das so zu bemerken, weil ich ja auch noch aufgewachsen bin, genauso wie Caroline Kebekus das beschreibt, mit einer extrem sexualisierten Welt, die wir als normal empfinden. Ne? Also ein Kommentar über deinen Hintern oder über, keine Ahnung, irgendwelche anderen Bodytype-Geschichten, Pfiffe und sowas. Das war ja, als wir aufgewachsen sind, auch noch völlig normal. Und auch unsere Väter haben teilweise sexualisiert gesprochen mit uns, Töchtern zum Teil, ohne dass das wirklich Thema war. Nicht mal die Mutter wäre eingeschritten, die hat es auch nicht bemerkt, weil die ist ja auch so, ne? Also das ist ja ein langes Thema, das zieht sich ja seit vielen Generationen durch. Und dann war irgendwann der Aufschrei, es gibt ja mehrere Aufschreie, ne? Es gibt ja Feminismus schon hier um wirklich, also eine Strömung, die ja schon viel älter ist, aus den USA kommt. Und die sagen ja selber gerade, also zum Beispiel die Gründer von Emma, und jetzt fällt mir natürlich der Name nicht ein, Alice Schwarzer natürlich. Ja, die sagen ja, okay, wir waren schon mal viel weiter und jetzt, keine Ahnung, jetzt gucken alle nur, dass sie hübsch sind auf Instagram und die Frisur irgendwie sitzt und Feminismus ist irgendwie jetzt wieder egal und so, ne? Und ich merke gerade so, ja, man muss aufpassen, dass einem das Thema nicht so entgleitet, so. Ja.
Feminism. Well, I definitely noticed when I first came to Germany that there was a different kind of Kampf between the sexes. Yes,
Kampf oder Krampf?
Kampf und Krampf, beides eigentlich, ja. And I'm still learning about it, after 20 years. These days I don't really say much, but I'm definitely in a better position where I can accept people as being, I can accept dualities and more. Yes, I can accept people for different things, and I accept that, if you're putting on a show, it's a show. If you're selling a fantasy, you're selling a fantasy. If you're going on doing beauty shots, you can do makeup. Yes, and as a photographer, I encourage people. I get a visagist for them, makeup artist, and I say, well, yeah, fine. This is what we're doing. As long as you see it as a role, it's perfectly fine. And the problem, I think, is when we try to too tightly hold on to extreme roles, which we are or we are not. I think, to be honest, we comprise many different people, and as, for example, I understand it, your art, your whole artistic expression on stage includes not only your voice, not only your music, but also the perfection that I see, the promise that I see, and simply put, also the feminine beauty. It's a part of it, and I can accept all of them. I don't, and that, I think, is a true art from my side. Whereas I can see you as all these things without reducing you to any one. And the question is, how do you? The question still is, how do you manage it? Are you gonna correct this person who only sees you in one way, or do you keep your distance and let them keep their wrong impression of who you are?
I don't correct them, not at all. I think when we're talking now about this, and I'm rethinking over that scene, and when I say, okay, I should more not correct the people who have maybe not this totally view on my art, but only in parts of it. Everyone is allowed to see what he sees and to perceive what he perceives. Do I say it right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, but I think the way of managing it, like after the concert, looking for your friends or looking for conversation with people who are more interested in art than standing like a stupid in the wrong conversation and being stuck there because of, I don't know, die Unfähigkeit, da wieder rauszukommen.
Yeah, the inability.
The inability, yeah, of getting away of this situation. And yeah, but then preparing the next performance, also thinking of those aspects. So I realized when I perform with Natasha, for example, tap dancer, comedian, singer, scheinbar I feel like in a safe space with her. She's older than me. I feel a bit like being with my elder sister and being under a protection. So I don't feel so.
Natasha.
Yeah, with Natasha, I don't feel so exposed as I am as Laura D, or solo artist Laura D, and yeah, and this is interesting because I have the feeling, okay, now we're doing something really funny and we are on this conversation in this comedy dialogue on stage, and I feel so untouchable. I don't feel vulnerable. So,
Good.
When I sing my own songs and my own poetry and my own thoughts, I feel much more vulnerable. So
when you're all alone on the stage.
yeah, and there are concert evenings where I'm okay, I have this song on my set list, but I don't feel really good doing it because it exposes too much. Or I think, okay, if there's a sigh in a song, is that too much? Is it too sexual? Is it, I don't know, having... Sometimes I cannot really cope. Nee, wie sagt man? Ich krieg nicht so richtig... Ich habe nicht so sehr... I don't really have faith in how it can be seen, how it can be felt, you know? So sometimes this freezes me also, this moment knowing, okay, now I'm on stage, now I have this song. For example, ich wollte schon par exemple sagen, weil es um ein französisches Lied geht, Encore Sexy. Da geht es, also ich habe ja sogar ein feministisches Chanson, da geht es um die Sexualisierung des weiblichen Körpers.
Ja.
Und der soll ja eigentlich so rausgerotzt werden eigentlich, ja. Und manchmal denke ich so, traue ich mich jetzt heute, diesen Song überhaupt zu singen, so. Und dann singe ich ihn doch, aber ich bin dann so gefreezed innerlich und denke dann so, okay, wieder wie der klassische Musiker, okay, die Note treffen, den Rhythmus beibehalten und bin dann so ganz auf der musikalisch-technischen Seite und bin nicht mehr so im Ausdruck drin und in der Message und so. Und das mache ich öfter, wenn ich mich unsicher fühle, dann ziehe ich mich aus der Message zurück und bin dann wieder, aber ich bin ja auch die richtigen Tasten, die richtigen Akkorde, der richtige Rhythmus, die richtige Tonhöhe, die Intonation, das richtige Crescendo, Decrescendo und bla, diese ganzen musikalischen Aspekte. Und dann verstecke ich mich dann auch dahinter. Das merkt man, glaube ich, als Zuschauer nicht so. Das merkst du aber sofort, wenn du zwei Performances vergleichst. Ne?
Okay.
So.
Ja, ja.
Und das ist was, wo ich merke, okay, da frage ich mich auch manchmal, am I really an artist or am I really, I don't know, am I really, do I really know what I want to express when I have songs that I don't really feel capable all the time to perform? Yeah.
I appreciate you showing this vulnerability, and it's okay if I ask you a question and you don't exactly know the answer today. It's fine. Who knows? Anybody who pretends to have the answer to anything, you should be careful of them, and I appreciate the fact that you share your process with both of our listeners. Yeah. That in itself was, I don't know, I didn't really see it as an answer to anybody who feels that way, but at least you share what your process is. And if I understand it correctly, if you think you get the feeling that the expressing the full sexuality of this song might be inappropriate, then you focus on the scientific, or
I hide myself.
You hide yourself behind the...
I don't want to be, I don't know, I feel like I don't want to be misunderstood or something. But I also feel the tension to get there, to this vulnerable point and to show more.
But why not? Why not? I mean, you're on stage. I mean, it's a performance. I mean, if you frame, I'm framing this show as a place where we're talking, we're not giving answers to anything, we're conversing on ideas, we can change our minds. I frame the stage. Why not just frame the stage and say, well, this is already on stage, and we know where it begins and we know where it ends, and then you just express everything. Because I'm there for everything. For example, on the stage, I want to see everything.
Last year, I had a performance with also with a friend, a female singer, Lilian, and she asked me sometimes to do background vocals, and she's a great performer. So, and I saw her performing I Want to Be Your Dog. I don't know.
Oh, that sounds a little crass.
Yeah. Who's this song by? I don't remember to find it. I didn't hear it for the first time, but I heard it for the first time from her, and she did a really a brilliant performance. She sang it so well, but she was hat sich über die Bierbank gerobbt und ist ganz nah an die Zuschauer ran und es hat sehr lastive Bewegungen gemacht. Ich stand hinten beim Background so schalala und dachte so, oh Gott, sorry, aber es ist mir zu viel. Kann ich vielleicht da irgendwie mich verstecken oder so, weißt du?
She was a Marilyn for the Kennedy.
Hä?
A Marilyn for the Kennedy.
Marilyn
Monroe.
sowas. Ja, Marilyn for the Kennedy.
Historic performance.
Und ich merke, ich bin dann so verschämt, und denke so, okay, Laura, du willst jetzt irgendwie eine coole Sängerin sein, aber irgendwie halte ich es nicht aus. Und danach hat sie mich gefragt, Laura, was war los? Du hast ja gar nicht mehr so mitgemacht. Ich so, sorry, ich war total begeistert von deiner Performance, aber irgendwie habe ich mich unwohl gefühlt.
Yeah.
So. And that was not practiced before. It just comes out of her when she performances, and that's her way of doing it, and she's doing a great job. But I felt like, okay,
maybe in that case, it's then your job to do exactly as you did. You know, you focus on the musical, focus on the, as I said earlier, the wissenschaftlich, the scientific, and let her do her thing. So maybe you're there to balance her out, So I don't think you did anything wrong. Und ich meine, also sowas muss man erstmal üben, ne?
No, I don't think that I did anything wrong, but I did not really feel part of the performance anymore. So the feeling made me drop out of the concert.
Okay. Well, the topic is heavy. We've touched on many things, and one of the questions that I had for you, one of my burning questions is really how you manage it without being judgmental in any way. I mean, you are growing into your art still, and you're unfolding as a performer, as a woman, as an artist, and I find it very interesting to hear how you cope with it, also how you maybe techniques for dealing with this, or maybe even advice. That would be a question.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think it's a lot about allow yourself being aware of what is happening, and also allowing the feeling that you feel bad in certain situations, and then you have to think over or talk over with, I don't know, fellow musicians or friends, and find maybe another way. You don't have to perform in a beer zelt with drunken men if you feel uncomfortable. You can say, okay, maybe I get $500 for this job, but I don't do it because I will feel really uncomfortable. Or if I do it, I bring, I don't know, mein Bruder, der ist Polizist, with me, and then and then we, I don't know, I will feel better, and I don't know, to have backup or something. It's about being prepared that things like that happen, and they are common, and to be part of the decision and not to let other people decide in which situations they put you.
Knowing yourself as well, no? Your own limits and so on.
And accepting and also saying, okay, this situation hurts, or this felt bad, or I didn't like to perform there because of something, and then don't listen to the people who say, oh, you're so emotional, oh, du bist so empfindlich, no? So, but these aspects we hear a lot talked about from the music industry, so really from big stars who always feel sexualized and who are definitely surely a lot sexualized, but I would think that maybe a Beyoncé, for example, or Ariana Grande nowadays learns exactly how to deal with this problem because she's dealing with that all the time. So yeah.
My only hope is that you don't reject that, because I mean, as I said before, I appreciate the fullness, as in every aspect of it. Realizing that these tendencies do exist doesn't mean that you're going to reject them 100% or pretend that they don't exist. I do get the feeling that you try to manage them in the best way you can, and you try to remain true to yourself, which I think, if I did understand your message correctly, that is the approach you take.
Yes, you understood
Yeah?
correctly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it. All right. Well, I suspect that we'll be doing this again because, I am interested in your art, Laura. I mean, we've done quite a few things together and I feel motivated to continue because I sense that there is further potential for greater collaborations, and I'm open to see what these might unfold to be. However, now that I would say we're coming to the end because, this is a topic that we can press on forever. And we're, touching on to almost an hour now. But I'm going to invite you to think about, well, not exactly for the last time, but for this episode, think about anybody else who might be in your position. You could probably even visualize a younger artist. Doesn't have to be younger, but somebody as in less experienced than you are, who is struggling with these roles, these assumptions of the audience, this acceptance of self, this message, the question as to what is it that I really want to tell or communicate on stage. Somebody who's struggling. As I said, it could be somebody younger, just somebody a little less experienced. Just take a minute and think about what would be your best advice to them, or if that's difficult for you, maybe you can't think of anyone, what would be your advice to yourself, let's say 7 or 10 years ago?
I think it's both. It's when I talk to younger artists, it's also, if I would have known when I was younger thing, huh? I think, first of all, as an artist, really think about your concepts. And this is weird in the beginning because in the beginning, your concept is, okay, I wrote some songs and I want to show them. So if there's not really, I don't know, a political message, like you're in a punk band and you want to tell the world that, I don't know, Trump should piss off, or any political topic or something, but you just write songs of the ideas you have in your head, then maybe it's also good to think about, okay, what do I really want with this? Do I want to impress people because I have nice melodies, I have nice chord progressions, or to just look nice, or is it all in all? I think this is really difficult if in the beginning you don't have a message, and then I was often thinking about, okay, I need a message. Should I write, I don't know, more about things that really matter to people? When you're only exposing yourself, then you maybe, that's a strange thing. You're more vulnerable maybe than others.
We're all vulnerable.
Yeah, but
what would you tell yourself,
Be sure that you have really good friends who understand you and find solutions that can be that must be very individual. So I don't think there's one solution for everyone. So if you have friends, family, and you say, there are always those nasty situations after concerts, let's find a way. And if it is that your brother or boyfriend or a mother comes with you to the concert and supports you, that might be a way. I think the best way is really to be, to be ahead of it. I don't know, as I mentioned, to really know what to say, what to answer, to detect situations that can cause, bad feelings. And, in the end, I don't know, getting stronger through this, because in the end it's about being strong. You want to perform, du willst auf der Bühne funktionieren auch, du willst dich ja nicht so sehr davon ablenken lassen, dass sowas passieren kann. Ja, du willst ja nicht dich davon so stark beeinflussen lassen. But I'm sure there are musicians who stop doing music or who stop doing live performances because of those situations of harassing or compliments, or I don't know, compliments that you don't really like or anything. I have two girls. I want to talk with them. I have two pupils, I want to say. Very talented girls who sing very well. They just sang on the Abiturfeier yesterday. And they don't want to perform outside school, for example. I said, wow, you're so brilliant. I will bring you on stage. I will put you to open mic shows. I also wanted to bring them to the open mic by Arno Zilmer. He's also a very nice person. He really supports in a very fair, nice manner young artists. Wabe, do you know the Wabe?
Wabe, I know the Wabe.
Yeah.
I've had let's see, I photographed maybe 2 shows there, and I've had an exhibition there as well, photo exhibition with a very let's see, talented and well-known dancer, Roxanne. Funnily that you mentioned that. Yes, I had a 6-month exhibition there, photo exhibition.
Oh,
fantastic.
wow. When was
yes,
that?
yes.
When was that?
Very good question. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
But we're still in contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I'll include some of the shots in there.
Congratulations. It's
Thank
a very
you.
nice stage also.
Oh, yes,
and they host
indeed.
a lot of school bands, I heard. And
Indeed.
some kind of, Anyways, those girls don't like to. And I would like to find out why. And maybe part of their decision could also be that I would also be in a situation where they could feel sexually, I don't know, or maybe they lived situations already where they felt harassed,
Yeah.
on a birthday presentation, anything. I would like to find out. They don't have to tell me, but because I would like to see them on stage in a bigger. In a bigger frame.
Yeah.
So.
You know, when I met you, I knew you had things to say. I've asked you a significant question. We've planned this conversation for quite a while, and you were very generous with your thoughts, and I also think authentic. It's definitely not a boring conversation, also owing to the fact that there's so much more to it that we'll have to do a part 2, perhaps. Thank you, Laura. And, you know, in that case, if you're talking about these 2 young ladies who you said are very talented, maybe I could take some of your advice and say, well, you said you felt protected on stage with your partner, Natasha, and maybe you could also play that role for these 2 young ladies and kind of help them to feel a little safer on the stage, and also to give them an idea of some of the negativities that can arise, and also to kind of like assure them that a lot of the stuff that might happen has absolutely nothing to do with them. And I can say that definitely with confidence, because sometimes people see me. There are a lot of parallels between my experience here in Germany as a Jamaican and your experience perhaps on stage, you know, in some of the negative ways. However, sometimes the way people react to you on stage, or what they see you as, has absolutely nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And sometimes feeling sorry is not for yourself, or feeling sorry about what you do, but sometimes it's feeling sorry for them, because if people, they're trapped. A lot of people, they're trapped in their way of seeing the world.
Well,
And it's kind of
I'm trapped too.
You're
when
trapped
I
as
see,
well, but
attractive man on stage, of course.
That's real. Okay, thank you for that. Yes. Okay, what do you like, the shirts or the haircut or the hands? The voice.
The throwing of roses, maybe.
The throwing of roses. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I will try to do that more often.
This effect that I think that's exactly for this effect why Lina Lerche is always taking men on stage.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. To lighten up her performance.
To throw yes. Yeah. But, you know, all right. Well, okay, you know, you kind of threw me there a little bit. You know, you wanted to throw roses, but you ended up throwing me. But all I'm saying is that, maybe these younger performers, it would be nice if you shared with them that, sometimes it has nothing to do with them. It's just about being aware of how things can turn out and how to manage them. Because I don't think anybody on stage should turn anything off. Whatever works and fits with your message, I think, and the performance and the experience, then should, be allowed room to blossom on stage. And then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Der hat zum Beispiel immer so ein schmieriges Zeugs auf meiner Facebook-Seite kommentiert, wo ich auch mich immer gefragt habe, soll ich den nicht einfach mal blockieren jetzt? Zumindest
Kannst du nicht.
So, ja?
Cancel, das geht nicht. Ja, ist besser einfach zu fragen, was meinst du? Das verstehe ich gar nicht. Erklär mal, was meinst du?
Ja.
Das ist besser.
Es sind aber so Sätze, weißt du, die sind so...
Weil manchmal wissen die selbst nicht, was sie meinen.
Genau, das sind so Komplimente, aber irgendwie...
Ja.
Also zum Beispiel
oder was hat das mit deiner Arbeit zu tun?
Was hat das mit meiner Arbeit? Ich habe den zum Beispiel gefragt, weil ich dachte, okay, er ist hier der Chef und er kennt sich aus, war ganz neu. Und mal gefragt, und kann man das so machen, die Nummer? Wie findest du die? Und er so, da können wir uns ja mal bei einem Kaffee drüber unterhalten.
Oh, sowas,
ja. Ich auch so,
ja, aber da muss ich ja auch aufpassen, ne? Also durch die Gegend so schmeicheln, ne? Weil, das ist in meiner Natur. Ich bin so. Aber weiß ich nicht. Ich kann das nicht.
Es kann, aber manche können es aber auch und dann kann man es auch aushalten. Dann hat es auch irgendwie, also ich glaube, wenn du sowas machst, dann hat das aber auch irgendeine leichte Ironie, es hat einen Witz. Du hast für mich jetzt überhaupt nichts Bedrohliches oder sowas, ja. Also vor allem, weil wir jetzt auch schon ganz wieder, du reflektierst ja dieses
vielleicht, weil ich
Thema
keine Macht habe über dich. Ist auch ein Thema.
Sagte er und öffnete die Roséflasche. Alkohol ist auch eine Waffe.
Du weißt ja nicht, wie bedrohlich ich eigentlich bin.
Genau. Vor allem die Mafia-Bosse haben immer diese weißen Katzen, ne? Die drehen sich dann so um, drehen sich dann so um und dann haben die plötzlich die weiße Katze. Ja. Und dann weiß man, hier ist die Kalaschnik. Aber,
wir müssen ja zumachen hier. Guck mal, das läuft.
Ja.
Es gibt ja After-Szene, ne? Da kann ich ja ein bisschen näher.
Anyway. Viel besser. Es ist sowieso viel lustiger, wenn du sagst, es nimmt noch gar nicht auf. Du hättest beim Vorgespräch einfach auf. Das ist überhaupt der Trick bei diesem Vorgespräch. Einfach schon hier sitzen und heimlich aufnehmen.
Ja.
Ja, das
ist immer gut, aber ich weiß nicht, ob das legal ist in Deutschland, weißt du. Also in Deutschland ist es ziemlich anders.
Ja, das ist natürlich total.
Aufpassen.
Das ist alles total. Aber da, wo kein Kläger, da kein Richter.
Okay, gut, ja, bitte. Ja, genau. Kein Kläger, kein Richter, das ist cool.
Aber ich merke auch einfach, okay, egal, armer Typ. Ich meine, Typen, die so sind, die katapultieren sich auch uns aus. Ja. Es sei denn, sie haben wirklich viel Macht.
Das ist auch so traurig, ne? Das ist so traurig. Das ist traurig irgendwie, weil ich finde, weißt du, die Frauen haben sich so dermaßen entwickelt, über den Jahren, meine 10 Jahren. Viele Männer, die wissen nicht mehr, was sie sein dürfen.
Ja, ich weiß.
Die sagen nichts. Und ich habe auch ganz viele Freundinnen, die sagen zu mir, ey, ich mag mich hübsch und dann gehst du zu Beachbar und so und da sitze ich ganz alleine oder mit einer Freundin und keiner spricht uns an. Die Männer, die haben Angst, die wissen nicht, was die sein dürfen. Also die kommen dann und, weißt du, manchmal, dann kommen die und die sind überweiblich oder über so frauenverstärlich oder die nennen sich Feministin, so die fangen so an, so. Und also das habe ich auch mal gemacht. Oder ich weiß es nicht, die wissen nicht, oder die fragen erstmal, ob die Hallo sagen dürfen. Solche Sachen. Ja, weißt du? Und das ist irgendwie traurig.
Naja, aber ich muss auch sagen, ich mache mich hübsch, setze mich an eine Bar und warte, dass mich jemand anquatscht, das ist auch sehr antiquiert. Das ist doch auch total 20. Jahrhundert oder so.
Das ist auch was Schönes.
Ja, aber ich mache das zum Beispiel nicht. Also ich übernehme doch selber die Verantwortung
aber für die
Conversations. Ja, schon. Aber wenn jetzt jemand total besoffen und angestolpert kommt und irgendwas Blödes sagt, dann
besoffen ist einfach schlecht. Entweder Mann oder Frau ist einfach schlecht, ne? Ja.
Aber es ist, du sagst, ja, die Frauen haben sich weiterentwickelt, die ganzen Themen, die spielen eine Rolle. Das verunsichert Männer, das stimmt, das sehe ich auch. Viele wissen gar nicht mehr so richtig, was erlaubt ist. Deswegen muss man ja auch darüber sprechen.
Alles ist falsch,
im
eigentlich.
Gespräch bleiben. Ja, das ist dann aber auch wieder, keine Ahnung, wenn man sich sympathisch ist, dann ist man doch auch nicht so streng. Ne? Also wenn ich jetzt von jemandem angesprochen werde, den ich nett finde, dann lege ich doch nicht jedes Wort auf die Goldwaage. Das mache ich doch nur mit den Typen, wo ich gleich denke, boah, hat aber eine negative Energie oder boah, den finde ich irgendwie eklig und mit dem will ich nichts zu tun haben. Ne? Wenn du dich abgrenzen willst, dann bist du ja viel strenger. So in dem, boah, der hat jetzt irgendwie einen blöden Spruch gelassen, der ist jetzt irgendwie zu nah rangekommen oder sowas. Wenn du jemanden attraktiv findest und dich gerne von dem anquatschen lässt, dann ist es doch okay. Ne? So. Ja. Also du triffst ja immer diese individuelle Entscheidung.
Ja.
Machst du ja auch, ne? Dass du auch manchmal denkst, ey, die Frau geht mir voll auf die Nerven, die soll mal aufhören, mich zuzuquatschen. Das ist irgendwie auch alles total blöd, was die redet, oder? Du Situation hast du doch sicher auch.
Ja, einmal. Ja. Das letzte Mal bei scheinbar eigentlich, also Sexismus und Macht, ne? Nicht scheinbar. Ich wurde 2-mal an meinen Arsch irgendwie geklatscht. Von Frauen.
Echt? Von Frauen?
2-mal.
Das ist ja auch echt hart übergriffig.
Ich meine, sowas passiert auch bei Männern. Und immer wenn ich das erwähne, dann kommt entweder Lachen oder Lächeln.
Nee, von mir nicht. Ich finde das nicht in Ordnung. Also das ist ja von Frauen genauso sexuell übergriffig.
Ja. Ja.
Echt?
Es war, ja, natürlich.
Eine Person hat das 2-mal gemacht oder
nicht,
2 unabhängige Personen?
Ich habe keine Ahnung, weil einmal habe ich geguckt und das 2. Mal habe ich nicht mehr geguckt. Weißt du, aber die Frauen machen das auch ein bisschen anders. Ja? Die machen das genau das gleiche, aber geschickter. So ein bisschen eleganter. Und deswegen fühlte ich mich nicht so wie ein Stück Fleisch. Nur so vielleicht dann, wenn überhaupt, dann so Entrecôte.
Was? Entrecote?
Entrecote, ja.
So, ja,
oder,
genau.
ja, genau.
Also ein geschätztes, ein teureres Stück Fleisch.
Genau,
okay.
genau. Aber ja, das ist auch so ein Thema, muss ich ja sagen. Aber selbst das kann man ja auch geschickt machen.
Aber da musst du ja genauso wie ich auch lernen, dann dich umzudrehen und sagen, so, halt, sag mal, geht's noch? Was soll denn das jetzt? Ja, also du kannst ja, ne, also ich glaube, jede Frau versteht dann auch sofort, ups, da bin ich ein bisschen zu weit gegangen. Ja.
Du, ich habe so viel mit dir zu reden. Also, weißt du, ich wollte auch erwähnen, also genau wegen dieser, ja, lass das erstmal, ne?
Wir lassen
also,
es erstmal ruhen.
Erstmal weg. Ja,
genau.
Scheiße, ich sollte es wirklich weg, ja.
Yes, lovely people, yeah, we there again, Jamaica time. All right, here we now. I done it, and I feel happy so I done it. A long time I record this, and this episode, it is so compact and so complex that I have a whole heap of things we have to put in it, and I have some music and things you hear some music there from Lara, wicked pan the piano, you know, and yeah man, if you definitely check out the show notes page, you know, because this the video them there, I mean I publish them nowhere else. So if you want to see Lara, she wicked pan the machine, you know, just go over there and just check it out. I'm going this alone you can see it. Alright, people, as I always say, we not pretend so we can answer nobody question. Right? As we always say in Jamaica, I chow me corner, me the corner foul. And what I mean is that, although we talk about them something here, it's not like we are trying to say, boy, these are the answers. If you feel say something work for you, then you can take it. If you don't feel say nothing work for you, then just let go it, just left it. Right? So, no more long talking. Done with that. Again, big love Lara and all of you who love the show. And until next time, life is feeling.